All right, this is video number 3 of our 8-part series about triathlon terminology. Now today we're going to be talking about swimming terms, and I'm going to go through a list of swimming terms and I'll put it across the bottom of the screen as well, and I'll try to explain what each one of these things means. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. If I've missed something, drop it in the comments, subscribe. Lots of good information for beginner triathletes going on here. Now, let's just jump right into this. Let's talk about some swimming terms you're likely to hear. When you're doing OWS, open water swimming, that is different from pool swimming. That simply denotes you're out in the open water. And I will tell you, there is a massive difference between pool swimming and open water swimming. And the biggest mistake any new triathlete can make is to spend all their time training in the pool and very little time conditioning themselves in open water swimming, especially when you're new to the sport. You're going to have to learn how to control your breathing and panic attacks, because you will have panic attacks the first time you get into open water swimming. Heck, you might have a panic attack after 10 years of open water swimming for some reason. Something throws you off, and you're going to have to learn how to have a strategy in the water to calm your breathing, just relax yourself, roll over, and get swimming again. So, massive difference between open water swimming and pool swimming. Sighting is a terminology that we use in open water swimming. In open water swimming, you don't have lanes to swim like you do in a pool, but we have markers or buoys in the water. And the idea is when you're coming up to breathe, you pop your head out of the water every 5 strokes or so, and you've got a point on the horizon or one of the orange or yellow markers and going, that's where I'm going to next. You just take 5 or 6 strokes, pop your head up, there's the marker. That's called sighting. You're always sighting and looking for, where am I going? You don't just put your head down and swim continuously for 20 minutes and then pop it up and go, where am I, right? You want to be sighting exactly where you're going. And don't always trust that the guy in front of you knows where he's going, right? He might be swimming offshore, or off course, which will take you off course if you're following their feet. Always pay attention, always sight every 5 or 6 strokes. Lane swimming. So back in the pool, when you're doing your training and you go to your local pool, you want to ask, when is there lane swimming? Not public swimming, lane swimming. Lane swimming is very specific. That is for people who are doing endurance swims, and they close or shut the lanes down in the pool so that people who are, again, doing distance swimming can do that without bozos jumping into the pool who are just there to fool around. And it's the lifeguard's duty at the pool to make sure that those lanes are specifically used for lane swimming. I know a lot of times at the university where I swim, you get students jumping in the water because it's playtime for them. Maybe they have a bath, I don't know. But they're not swimming, that's for sure. And I have to go and get a lifeguard, go like, come on, get these guys out of the lane. You're the traffic marshal here, get them out of the lane. So when you see a sign, a little yellow sign, at the pool deck that says lane swimming, that's what it means. It's meant for you to do your long distance swims in. Drafting and swimming, I touched on this earlier in an earlier video. Drafting and swimming simply means you're on the feet of somebody else. So the swimmer right in front of you, you can see with your goggles on, you can see their feet. It's just a bunch of bubbles coming in the water. Sometimes you see a foot here or there, but that's in their slipstream. That's drafting. You want to get on the heels or the feet of somebody who's a little bit of a quicker swimmer than you if you can, so that you take advantage of their breaking the water. It's creating less energy for you to have to swim forward. So if you can get in a good drafting position, especially on race day, you'll save energy in the swim and you'll hopefully be a little bit faster. Okay, wetsuit legal races. So in most long distance triathlons, there is something called a wetsuit that you can use. But there's a time and place where you can't use the wetsuit, and that is a lot of times where you're in a warmer climate. In Cozumel, Mexico, it was an ocean swim. Couldn't bring my wetsuit because the temperature of the water was going to be above 78 degrees. That's the cutoff point. If the temperature of the water goes above 78 degrees, you can't wear your wetsuit. If it's below 78 degrees, you can. That's why it's really important, if you're going to a race where you feel like you're prepared using a wetsuit, but it could be hot, you're going to have to do some training without swimming 4 kilometers, especially if you're doing the Ironman level, without a wetsuit on. And it's going to be hard because you're used to that buoyancy of the wetsuit sort of keeping you afloat. You can do it, but it's going to take a little bit of conditioning for you to do it. So make sure you think about that when you're doing your training for race day, that you've understood, is it going to be a draft or is it going to be a swim suit wetsuit legal race or not, make sure you're prepared for it either way. All right, rolling start. That's where you've all seen in the Ironman where it's just a mass group of athletes charging into the water. That's called a mass start. A rolling start is where every 5 seconds they're letting another group of athletes out. Most of the rolling starts that I do, that I've done, are, they let the age groups go out in waves by about 5 minutes apart. And you try to seed yourself according to where you think you're going to feel comfortable in the water. If you want to be fast and be at the front of the pack and you know you're a fast swimmer, get to the front of your group and you're going to be chasing down the pack ahead of you. If you know this is new and you're not quite ready to get into the fray yet, stick out to the outside lane, if you will, and stay there. And it'll be a much more enjoyable, easier swim for you to enjoy. So a rolling start is simply that. They're letting people go off either in a group being a wave, or they're letting like 5 to 10 athletes go out every 10 to 15 seconds just to stagger the start so you're not sort of all on top of each other. And again, I've alluded to a mass start is just that. Everybody going out all at once. I did that in Cozumel, Mexico, and that was 2,000 people swimming right beside each other, and all of a sudden you're going in the same direction. It's a little bit chaotic. You might get your goggles kicked off. You might get swam over. It's not intentional. You can't see each other. You're just all trying to go in the same direction. Not an easy thing to do, but definitely something you can overcome. What is a buoy? Well, a marker, a buoy, a pylon, whatever you want to call it, it's that floating orange thing in the water that's telling you, what am I swimming towards? And you just need to know, am I supposed to be on the left or the right-hand side of the buoy, the marker, and stick to the side that you're supposed to be on. And I always swim on the outside because I'm not a huge, strong swimmer. I don't like getting run over. I look at the swim as being one of the most enjoyable parts of the race for me. So I like to stay on the outside. And if I lose a couple of minutes of time, so what? In the grand scheme of things, I'm not podium finishing. I'm going to be in the top 50 of my age group. That's plenty fine. I just want to enjoy the swim and have a really safe time and just thoroughly enjoy it so it sets me up for a good race day. All right, now we get on to the fun stuff. The strippers. Not what you think, but the strippers at every race that's a wetsuit legal race, because they are there to help you when you come out of the water. Pull your wetsuit off quickly if you would like their help. You don't have to use them. A strategy that I use specifically because there's a lot of races that I've learned there's a long distance you have to travel between getting out of the water and getting into transition. And if it might be a couple hundred yards or a couple hundred meters, and you're going to have to run for a minute maybe to get to the transition zone, I like to unzip my wetsuit and leave it hanging halfway down so that my legs are going to stay warm while I run up to the transition area. And I can peel the top half off while I'm running really easy. It's a matter of I want to keep that on until I get to my bike so that I'm keeping my legs warm. Because if it's cool in the morning, right, you get out of the water, everything's feeling great, and all of a sudden you get hit by this cold breeze and you're like, oh, geez, this is unsettling. So that's a strategy that you'll see a lot of pros use, is they'll keep their wetsuit on halfway, so they're keeping their legs warm as they're running up to the transition area. All right, a swim skin. In a lot of races that are ocean races specifically where it's warm, you're going to say, well, that's a warm race. Why is that person wearing what looks like something over top of their tri-gear? Well, it's called a swim skin, and essentially it's like a slipstream swimsuit that goes over top of your triathlon suit, and it just creates for you're slicker in the water. That's the best way I can say it. The fabric is designed to make you more aerodynamic in the water and help you swim faster. There's not a lot of age group athletes that I know of that have ever purchased these things or worn them, but some of the elite pros use them because they're looking for seconds, and if it's legal, they'll grab those seconds anywhere they can. Not something you have to worry about, but probably I had the same question, so you might have the same question yourself. A pull buoy. A pull buoy is a device we use in the pool to train with. It's foam. It sits between your two legs so that you don't kick your legs while you're swimming. The whole idea is you're conditioning and strengthening your shoulders and your arms, pulling yourself through the water without the assistance of kicking. What is a swim fin? Well, swim fins are pieces of plastic that you put on your hands, and they help you as you swim pull more water through the swim stroke. And in doing so, again, you're strengthening all the muscles in your arms, allowing you to swim faster. It's like in baseball, you put a weight on your bat, you swing it to loosen up, then you take the weight off and it's light. Same thing here. If I'm swimming with my paddles on my hands and then I take them off, boy, I feel like I'm light as a feather swimming through the water. Kickboards. So you'll see these at pools all the time. It's a little piece of foam that people are holding on to and they're kicking with their feet. The idea is, it's called a flutter board, a kickboard. It's meant to help you strengthen your legs for kicking. And a lot of the drills you might do if you're into doing drills in the pool is go up and down the pool a couple of times just kicking, practicing that kick motion. I personally hate these things, so I don't do very much of it. Earplugs. I could not swim without them. There are multiple different types of earplugs. You've got to find the ones that work best for you. Mine, I buy them from Speedo. They are shaped like the inner part of my ear. I put them in and there's a little knob on it, and to get them out, I pull the knob and they come out. Some of them are round and they go pretty deep in your ears. I don't like those. Some of them are like a round piece of putty plastic. I don't like those either. I like the ones from Speedo that are shaped like the inside of my ear. They go in, they've got a seal. They don't hurt the inside of my ear. They're very, very comfortable to wear. And boy, if you're like me and you can't handle water in your ears while you're swimming, I couldn't do my race without them. This is the essential part of my swim gear. Swim paddles. I think I've talked about swim paddles already. Swim fins. Oh, I may have confused swim paddles with swim fins. So the swim paddles are the plastic that go on my hands. The swim fins are, they're flippers, like scuba diving or snorkeling flippers that you put on to help you do your foot kick in the water. So the angle of my foot, I don't have good flexibility. So I have like almost a 90-degree angle of my leg, and then my foot goes down. Really good swimmers, it's like a 45-degree angle where their leg comes out and then the foot's on a bit of an angle like this. So kicking with fins helps you strengthen and stretch out your legs so that maybe you get more stretch and you're not so, like, it feels like when I'm kicking down that I'm almost putting the brakes on in the water. I think that's one of the biggest challenges I have with not being fast, is just I don't have the flexibility to have my legs pointed out far enough to allow that aerodynamic motion while I'm kicking in the water. Okay, that brings me to Swim Buoy. Safety device. I'm just going to pull this over here. This is my swim buoy inside of here. This is a flotation device that I just simply blow it up. It goes around my waist and it stays with me in the water behind me. In the event that I have an emergency in the water, I need something to save my life, I will not swim without that now in open water. I did for many years, didn't have it. It's a new thing. Absolutely love it, and I used it last Thanksgiving. I was in 62-degree water up north in Lake Muskoka swimming, and I had several panic attacks just because of the coldness of the water. And having that to tuck under my arm just to kind of calm my breathing down was huge. So it's a lifesaver. And I did get into a situation a couple of years ago where I got caught up in some fishing line and almost drowned. Couldn't see it on the top of the water. It was just floating there. Somebody had cut it off and let it go. And everybody knows there's all kinds of fishing line in the water everywhere. So having something like that could save your life. So don't skimp out on the $30 or $40 it was to buy that. That's an essential piece of gear as well. And then the last thing you're going to hear is Body Glide. Body Glide is meant to be put on your neck. It looks like a stick of deodorant. You put some on your neck. You put it anywhere on your arms where I tend to find it's here on my neck and here on my arm where it chafes when I'm doing long distance swims with my wetsuit. So just because of this stretching motion, as you stretch out, the wetsuit sort of slowly just sort of rubs against your skin a little bit. And as I do this and come across, the top of my wetsuit just kind of rubs and chafes the top of my neck. So if I put the Body Glide on, it's like a deodorant. You put that on and it just prevents you from chafing. So those are the swim-specific terms I wanted to share with you today. If you can think of anything that I've forgotten or not talked about or need to explain more, drop a comment and I'll be sure to do that. I'll elaborate in the comments. If I've forgotten anything that you know of that I didn't think of, drop it in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. As soon as we get to 100,000 subscribers, I will sign up and do another Ironman and take you guys on that journey with me. But between now and then, hopefully this series of videos will add value and you'll enjoy what we're doing here. So have a great day, everybody. And the next video is going to be on cycling terms, and that's going to be right here. Bye for now.